Hi, this is Michael Pittone with SalesBuzz.com, and today I want to talk about your story. And the reason I want to talk about your story and how it'll help you separate yourself from the rest of the competition is because your story is an integral part to get prospects to connect with you. We've all heard about how people only buy from those they like. That's great information, but what do we do with it? How do we take that information and do we translate it into more sales? And a lot of times, what salespeople will do when they hear that kind of information is they go out and they try to be more friendly. And then what they end up doing is they're being not themselves. Now, you should naturally be friendly, but when you're overly friendly, it's kind of manipulative and people pick up on that. Whether it's face to face or you're selling by phone, it's going to push people away. So, with that being said, since we know people buy from people they like, that means that they have a connection with them. They understand something. They know that you understand them, and then they can trust you to help them solve their problems. So, quick tips, a little bit of advice is to know your story and then simply be yourself and share that with your prospects. Now, first of all, when do we do that? We're going to do that after we contact a prospect, pique interest, gain permission to continue the call, ask a couple of engaging questions, open them up, find out if they qualify from our viewpoint, if there's a problem or a solution that they need that we can help them with. And once we do that, we find out that they're the right person to speak to or part of the what's the word I'm looking for? Part of the decision-making process, thank you, to go ahead and help them, and they're going to be involved in the decision-making process. What we want to do at that point then is when it's time for us to do the presentation, we want to share your story, something that's going to relate to them but with your personal experience. Let me give you a quick example. When I first started my very first company, which is a search engine optimization company, before I started, I had no clue on how to go ahead and really turn on computers, and yet I'm starting a technology company, believe it or not. But what it was is my wife had a business where we were trying to compete against Fortune 500 companies who had large marketing dollars. And so what we did is we tried to figure out how to go ahead and optimize websites because the pay-per-click was just killing us. It was the amount of money we had to spend to try to get leads in through the search engines by pay-per-click. We just could not compete. And it was very frustrating. So we went ahead and started an optimization company, or I did anyway, started an optimization company where we were able to go and start getting leads. Now we could compete with the big companies, and we could do it at a fraction of the cost. So when I started the optimization company, when the light bulb went on that we could actually do that for my wife's company, and that could help other small businesses who were faced with the same problem. When I started the optimization company and I got people in the door and they were interested in what we were doing to see if we could help them, I simply shared that story with them. The reason I started the optimization business is because my wife had a business totally different from what we were doing, but it was in the fixed asset management business, and she was having a hard time competing with other companies with large budgets. We tried the pay-per-click route, we tried other forms of advertising, and we just did not have the budget to compete, and it was very depressing. When we figured out how to optimize the site and get top rankings, all of a sudden we were getting a share of the same leads that the big boys were getting, and all of a sudden the company grew 10, 20, 30 times fold. Went from just a small mom and pop shop to a multi-million-dollar organization who's won President Circle for Sage 5 years in a row. When I shared that story with them and the pain that we were going through, and I understood what it was like to compete in that area, they immediately realized I understood their pain and we had something in common. I shared the story with them. And then I showed them what we did to solve it. And then I would ask, would this solution work for you as well? And amazingly enough, a lot of times it did, and they signed right then and there. Same thing when it comes to with my new company now at SalesBuzz.com. Just a quick background, the old company, I built it, sold it, 7-figure cash deal, the biggest commission check I ever made in my life. Stroked the check for 7 figures, cash. I sold the company, took some time off. I started SalesBuzz. Now, when people call me, why should I hire you? There's Jeffrey Gitomer. There's all these other sales training companies out there that we could go through. Why should we go through? You're unknown. We haven't heard of you before. And I simply share with them the fact that I know what it's like to be a straight commission phone sales rep and have that phone feel like a 25-pound weight. You just don't want to pick it up anymore. I remember that, and I know what I changed in order to be from an underachieving sales rep to being a high-paying, six-figure commission-only, straight commission salesperson. And that is what I'm sharing, and that's what I have in the course. And when I share that with people, they can start to experience the similar results as well. When I share that story, most people end up buying. And if that story doesn't resonate with them, it's okay too. It means that we just weren't a good fit, and that's part of the sales process. But when you share your story, people get to really know you and get to see if you can connect with them. And when you connect with them, you're going to increase your sales a lot. Hope this helps. See you next time. Bye-bye.